Hey guys, it's Magda. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed build. So today I am building a house or a dream house for a set of grandparents. This house has 2 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms, and it's located in the world of Henford-on-Bagley. And come to find out, I don't think I've ever said the name out loud. For some reason, I thought it sounded funny. But anyways, this is the world that came with cottage living. And I felt like it was perfect for this type of build. So the house is pretty spacious, even though it does have the 2 bedrooms. There's plenty of space if you guys want to expand the house and maybe add some more rooms or add like an office. I do add like an office space or like office area within the living room, which the living room is pretty big, I must say. And it has a whole separate like dining room place as well. So plenty of room if you guys want to add on additional bedrooms. But what I was thinking for this house is, as the title says, a dream home for grandparents. And I don't know, I feel like what I had envisioned is maybe having this house for the grandparents to go to live on, near a farm, which of course I didn't actually build a farm on this actual lot. There is an area for like a kitchen coop. I did do that. And there's also, I feel like, other space, which I primarily use for just like landscaping. But I feel like if you kind of tweak the house, kind of move it a little bit more to the edge, I feel like there would be room for like a stable or to have more animals in this build, if that's kind of like the storyline that you want to play with. But yeah, I just kind of, I guess, set the foundation for it just being a set of grandparents that live here full time all year long, and I don't know, just enjoy each other's company. I did want to add additional bedrooms. And the reason being is because I envisioned this house was maybe like the go-to house for like the holidays or like Thanksgiving. And I don't know, I imagine like maybe having family stay over from out of town. That could be a fun storyline. I only added one additional bedroom and I decorated it for like children. So it could be either a boy or a girl. It's kind of like gender neutral, but it is a bunk bed. And I didn't really personalize it too much. Again, kind of thinking about the storyline that the bedroom maybe used to be a while back ago, maybe their own kids' bedroom. And now they just use it for the grandkids whenever they come and stay. So the outside of the house came out pretty quickly. The whole structure, I feel like I just envisioned a good size home for the grandparents. I didn't want it to be too big. So I do some of the landscaping here because I knew for sure this is how I wanted to keep the overall structure of the house. And for that patio, I actually end up doing like an outdoor dining space. So I envision that maybe like when the weather is pretty and nice, the grandparents have their breakfast out here, or even when family's over. So I really like that idea. And I did something different that I normally don't do. In my other builds, I do not have like an official front door, I guess you could say. You can use either door. So there's actually 3 doors leading onto the inside of the house. So there's going to be this one that's right here on like this big patio area. And that one leads directly into the dining room. Which I noticed whenever I was test playing this house, that's where all the neighbors went to. So I feel like that would probably be like the official front door. And then the side one, it goes directly into the kitchen, which I envision that one's like primarily used by the grandparents. Just because it's like directly into the kitchen, access into the house, maybe like when they're bringing in like groceries or whatnot. I feel like that's the most used door for like the people that actually live here. But yeah, and then the third door, it goes into the dining room as well. But because the dining room's like kind of like a big long space, it's like on the other side of the wall. So, and it actually leads to another patio area as well. So I really like that, the whole structure, because normally I have like an official like entryway and whole deal where like it's the front area. It's like pretty obvious. But yeah, I feel like it kind of broke it up a little bit, having it into split up like that. So here I am now working in the kitchen, and for the kitchen, I wanted it to be, I don't know if rustic is the word. I guess so. But what I envision is like this originally wasn't the kitchen, and maybe they just added on to the house and expanded the kitchen. Maybe this whole area was originally the covered area, the covered porch, should I say. And that's why I left the rock tile. Maybe they left it because they do track in a lot of mud from working out with their animals on their land. So yeah, I really like the idea of, keeping the kitchen like that. And I do go back and clutter it and add the decor and stuff, but I wanted to make sure that the overall structure of the house inside and like the layout was going to work fine, because originally I did want to add a basement in this house. But I feel like given the space, and I really liked how the whole floor plan turned out, I didn't want to mess with it. So I just left it, and then I want to make sure that I add like the couches, that I have enough space for everything before I actually go back and decorate. So here I use these couches that came from the Horse Ranch pack that are really pretty couches. I feel like they're very versatile because they have those different types of like swatches that can go for, different types of styles and decors. So I choose the lighter swatch here, and for the floor, I want to say I do keep that one, and the wallpaper stays the same as well. I feel like I got excited and like matching this wallpaper that came from Cottage Living and like these couches. I got carried away and I just went ahead and started decorating the living room here. I was kind of playing around with the rug, and I want to say I settled with the one from Growing Together, which is really pretty as well. It kind of resembles this one, except it has like the little pieces at the end. Not sure what you would call them, like the little frayed rug. But anyways, and then also I use these curtains that I want to say came from the high school pack. But I feel like I really enjoyed this build because I used a lot of items that I normally wouldn't use in like different swatches. For example, with the couches, I haven't used this swatch, at least I don't think, in a build. I normally do go for like the darker tones. And then for the curtains, those I have not used. I've used the curtain itself, but I haven't used it in this swatch. So yeah, I feel like I really enjoyed that. And then I also sized down the TV. I envision that, them being the grandparents, they normally don't watch a lot of TV. They probably just have it for like the kids or like the family when they come over. So I sized down the TV and placed it there on top of the fireplace. And then for the actual coffee table, what I wanted to do is kind of place all of them and make it into like a circle. But I feel like it looked kind of out of place in this area. So I just left a regular coffee table, just left it as one. And then I want to say from this point now, I kind of go back and forth in cluttering the kitchen and the living room, just because I find some items that I know I want to place in the kitchen. And before I forget or before I go back and look for them, I go just back and forth and just go ahead and place them. So here for the desk area, this is a really big space. So originally I actually wanted to place some cabinets going along from like, floor to ceiling type of like built-ins. But I didn't like quite how it was turning out. So I just ended up placing this shelf from Cats and Dogs, and I placed a plant above it. And then right where I put the picture frame, I put that chair, and then also a table, which again, I say this in like every video. This is my favorite table right now, from the Horse Ranch expansion pack. Just because I feel like it's a perfect size and it's round, and I feel like you can kind of fit it with a lot of different types of styles. So I just clutter up the desk area, and I imagine that maybe, this area is just for like, again, family members or like kids and stuff that come over. Maybe the grandchildren stay on the weekends, and this is like where the area where maybe they might work on homework or they might work on stuff for school. And then I don't think I place too many things. I do a small little stool right next to the desk. And I actually placed a wall to close off the living room. So right behind the yellow chair, I ended up doing that wall, and I feel like I really like how it turned out just because it made everything a little bit more cozy. I feel like the room or the living room itself was already big enough. So by closing this part out, I feel like it just made it, I don't know. I feel like it just added character to this area right here. It was too opened. But yeah, so I placed a small window right behind that plant as well. And then after this, I want to say I go into the dining room. So in the dining room, I use this table, and I've never noticed that it has like a table runner on the actual table. I feel like it was a nice touch. I imagine that, the grandma living here pretty much uses this area as just like a formal dining space. And that table, if you guys are wondering, is actually from my wedding stories. I've never used it, so I really like how it has that the table runner. And then also what I wanted to mention is here for the actual outdoor patio, I envision that this is like the area where maybe the grandparents have coffee in the morning or watch the sunset. I actually do place like a shelf that came from the eco lifestyle pack, I want to say. So it could be kind of like a workstation as well for one of the grandparents. But yeah, so that will be, I want to say towards the end of the build that I actually work on that. So here I'm just kind of finishing up the dining space, and I didn't want to clutter it too much because I feel like this is kind of like a hallway that kind of connects the dining room into the living room. I really like this table that came from it came from the Horse Ranch expansion pack. Which is definitely one of my favorite packs. That's the one that I would highly recommend if you guys are deciding on buying a new one. That's the one where I feel like I use a lot of build items, just because the swatches are so pretty, and there's a variety of different types of like shades, and the furniture is just really pretty. So I do finish up the dining room space, and I go into the kitchen. For the kitchen, again, kind of going for like a rustic look. I really wanted to use that sink, but I feel like I didn't like the gaps that it was leaving, and I didn't want to size it up. So I just end up using the regular sink there. And I envision that maybe this sink is like specifically for like washing veggies, and maybe using it for filling up their teapot. And then the other one's probably for like actual like sanitary uses to like wash the dishes, and stuff like that. So I really, really enjoyed building this kitchen, and I actually go back and forth from the kitchen and living room again, placing different types of items as I find them. And then also here, I do extend the top floor a little bit out to the side, just because I feel like it wasn't enough room for the upstairs to make sure that we squeeze in those 2 bedrooms at least. And then I also really wanted them to have an ensuite, just because, primarily this is their space, this is their house. I really wanted to include that. So I go back and clutter up the kitchen some more, and I just wanted to make sure that this house felt very lived in. So I do place a lot of clutter items here in the kitchen, and place some more in the living room as well. I also do this like the birdhouse that normally, of course, you would use it for the outside. I size it down, and I want to say I place it on top of the chimney or on the mantle. And I really like that clutter item whenever I do get a chance to use it, just because I envision that maybe like the Sims living in the house built it by themselves. So I like that idea. And I placed this like working station, like shelf unit out here, but it does get deleted towards the end of the video because originally what I was going to have that the porch area that leads into the kitchen, I was gonna have that as like a workstation slash sitting area. And I scratched that out because of course I built the other porch on the other side of the house. So that's what actually ends up being the sitting area and workstation area. And then the one leading into the kitchen, what I do is I place like it's like a grill, I want to say. I'm not sure which pack it came from, probably Cottage Living. But it's kind of like a rustic looking one, the older one. And I envisioned that maybe that was probably like part of the original house and they kept that piece there, and just, left it as part of the house. I don't know. I feel like I really like that. And, the Sims actually using it and maybe even cooking outdoors sometimes when it comes to like certain foods, they don't want to smell up the house or something. I feel like that's really realistic for like people that live out in the country, or at least me personally. My mom growing up would cook like fried fish or certain foods that, would just make the house smell really bad. She would cook it outside and still does. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with our older like generations, like our grandparents, if, they were brought up a certain way, especially for like the Hispanic culture. My grandma still cooks outside, makes tortillas outside. And I don't know, it feels different. So I really like that touch and it just reminded me of that. And I go back and forth here, add the more clutter items. I do want to apologize also in advance. My camera skills when it comes to building in The Sims is a work in progress. Work in progress. I'm not sure what the saying is, but if I do make you dizzy, I'm sorry. So full disclaimer there that I am working on it and just being more mindful on how I move my camera, just so when it gets sped up, it's not too bad. But yeah, so just finishing up the bathroom, I feel like because it is the half bath, this is probably the main bathroom that the guests use, so it's not too cluttered. And as far as the washer and dryer, if you don't want to play with laundry day, you can actually, delete that. And I feel like it's plenty of space to add a bathtub there or a shower, and just make it into a full bathroom. But here shortly, I will go and move on to the upstairs. And for the upstairs, for the hallway or like this landing area, I honestly wasn't too sure what to do with it. Just because it's kind of like a small space. I feel like I just placed some picture frames. I want to say it's like the collaged one that came from Cats and Dogs, and probably just a plant. And I think that's it. I want to say I add a window on the back wall and just didn't clutter it too much because of it being so small. And then I do move on here shortly into the actual grandparents' bedroom. And for the grandparents' bedroom, I do add, I want to say like the full set. I do the bed and then a full dresser that I want to say all the furniture probably came from the Horse Ranch pack. Again, highly recommend that pack just because I feel like just the furniture pieces that come with it are really pretty and kind of fix up the outside a little bit before I continue and actually solidifying the interior of the house. But I do use that same wallpaper. I believe that was downstairs as well, just so that way it kind of meshes all together. And I do the same actually for the kids' bedroom. So what I liked about the build, which I feel like I've done here with my last builds, I feel like the bedrooms look like they belong in the house. For certain builds, specifically for like family-based builds, sometimes I like do their kids' bedroom for like specific personalities. But when it comes to builds like this, where maybe the kids don't officially live in the house, They're kind of decorated very generic and maybe resembling the decor of the rest of the house. So that's kind of what I did for both bedrooms. I used a lot of yellow pieces, I think, in this bedroom, in the grandparents' bedroom. Maybe that's like the grandma's favorite color. I do an ottoman, and I want to say that's pretty much it. I clutter up the dressers, not the dressers, the end tables, but not too much. I want to say I just do like glasses or maybe like a flower, and that's pretty much it. I also want to say, if you're ever curious about my builds, they are up in the gallery. My origin ID is Mags10 Martinez, which will be listed down in the description down below. But yeah, I'm pretty much done for the bedroom. I do move on to the bathroom here shortly. And for the bathroom, I feel like it's a pretty good space bathroom. I used a shower tub combo that came from Base Game, which is like the older looking one. And for the countertops, I do a double vanity sink, and I use the same counters that came from the Horse Ranch expansion pack, which I use down in the kitchen down below as well. And then for clutter items, I want to say I just kept it simple. I did toothbrushes, dentures, and I want to say the electric trimmer. And that's pretty much it. I feel like I wanted to keep it simple because it is the grandparents' bathroom. I feel like they mainly keep it pretty clean. Pretty organized, and I do move on into the kids' bedroom here in just a moment. And for the kids' bedroom, like I said, just very gender neutral. I feel like they had maybe their kid living here at one point, and of course, once the child moved out, I feel like they kind of, did different things with the bedroom. Maybe they had it as an at home office or a craft room. But now since they kept the original furniture pieces, I feel like they just added it as a guest room and kept the bunk bed. Maybe they have their grandkids spending the night on the weekends or like holidays or something like that. So I just feel like it was a really neat idea. And again, I wanted it to feel like it was part of the house all along. I didn't want to make it stand out. So I just add the toy box, I want to say a dresser, and a mirror and a plant. And I want to say that's all. So after here, I do work on the bathroom, which I don't do too much to it. Keep it very simple, imagining that it's just kind of another guest bathroom for the people that stay the night. So I didn't clutter it too much. And then I work on some of the exterior furnishing as well for the front and side patio. And then after that, we will be moving on into the screenshots. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, give it a big thumbs up. That means so much to me. Please let me know if you guys have any comments or suggestions down below. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.
Set out on the open road, same old place you always used to go when you were younger. Speeding through a 50 song like your dad before, you didn't even notice. The old man with the silver hair sitting in his rocking chair. Soon you'll be there. Although it's easy to remember, it's as easy to forget that it leaves you feeling down and filled with some regrets. All this trick of the memory, we call them good old days. Although sweet in the moment, it's poison for you. Listening to the same old tune as you heard before. You even even knew the language. With every line it brought you back, back to where the summer never ended. Although it's easy to remember, it's as easy to forget that it leaves you feeling down and filled with some regrets. All this trick of the memory, we call them good old days. Although sweet in the moment, is poison for you. Listening to the same old tune as you heard before, you even knew the language. With every line it brought you back, back to where the summer never ended. Although it's easy to remember, it's as easy to forget that it leaves you feeling